The match we're watching right now is going down at the Liverpool Olympia in Liverpool, England. They're going to go 26 minutes and 24 seconds on this one, Tony.
Wow. Plenty of time for us to bullshit. Bryan Danielson, and again, I didn't see much of Bryan Danielson, obviously, at Ring of Honor. And as you know, I pretty much ignored wrestling during the 18 years I was out. And of course, that was a lot of those years was when Bryan was with the WWE. Only thing I knew about Bryan Danielson was yes, 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 because it kind of became a
Right.
meme,
Yeah, of
you
course.
know, and they still do it today, uh, even though it's something that is obviously trademarked by the WWE. Uh, but and Bryan can't do it, but the fans always do it.
Right.
But after I saw him work, and after I got to know him really, really well, which I do, truly is amazing his longevity and how that son of a bitch will work on Wednesdays and Saturdays.
Yes.
Now, comparatively to the guys that I knew back in the 80s who worked every day and put in long matches every day, that's not saying anything. But in this day and age, when you only have to work in AEW 2 nights a week, Wednesdays and Saturdays, and then again maybe on Sunday if we got a pay per view or something, uh, it's just pretty amazing to me the at his age the effort he puts in to what he does.
And to
I
be clear, too, a lot of those guys who were working the crazy schedule back in the day,
Mhm.
they were wrestling a different style that was more entertainment, less physical,
Right.
and you could have a little razzle dazzle, a little gaga. I think Bryan Danielson, he's gonna have a different style of match than say the Boogie Woogie Man when he was working 5, 6 days a week.
Absolutely, because Boogie Woogie Man didn't go over 5 minutes.
And he didn't take very many bumps.
No, he didn't.
Whereas Mr. Danielson sometimes attacks the mat like it owes him money.
Right. Yeah.
And
So
look at the psychology about working a body part here. I mean, this
yeah,
is old school. Like,
yeah.
and my concern, I guess I shouldn't say my concern, but in this era, I just thought, I love this stuff. This is like my favorite type of wrestling. Like, I like Bryan Danielson stuff. He's been the best wrestler in the world for a long time, in my opinion.
Right.
But I could see how some people would say, well, this is too old school. It's too throwback. We need 3 minute, you know, 3 minutes of high paced, high spots. And that's just not what this is. But I still really, really like it. And I found a review that said it was a review from some guy, which I thought was hilarious. I'm not going to beat around the bush. This is one of the best matches I've ever seen. So I'm just going to gush about it for this entire review. I mean, he's a real artist here. I mean, I hate to be total Kenny Omega philosophical here, but like he's coming up with stuff that in combinations that you just don't normally see.
Right. There's a lot of fans out there that just want to see stunt shows.
Mm-hmm.
That's all they want to see. They want to see. They want to see a guy go through a table. They want to see Darby Allin jump off a 10-foot ladder onto glass. They want to see barbed wire come out from under the ring. They love the tacks, the thumbtacks. There are a lot of people who love that, and that's fine if you love stuff like that. But then again, if you really love pro wrestling and telling a story, you, you holy shit, you love something like this. That is a move. We just saw that axe handle.
Yep.
You don't see that much anymore. You don't see. I mean, you see it on the back, but you don't see it tying the guy up on the turnbuckle pads and then smashing with the axe handle like Nigel just did. Nigel's coming up with some great shit here, man.
By the way, if for some reason you're not a member of Honor Club at ROHWrestling.com, you can find this match on YouTube. But listen, if you're enjoying what you're seeing, let's support Ring of Honor, one of the little engines that could.
Yeah.
And check out the Honor Club, because if you like this sort of wrestling, boy, there's so much in the archives. You know, to me, and I know some people would argue, well, what about when they were on Access? And what about when they had TV? And the early, more formative days of Ring of Honor, oh 02, oh 03, oh 04, oh 05, oh 06, oh 07, even into oh 08. Just some unbelievable stuff, man.
Yeah, I'm catching on to that right now, and actually really enjoying. Boy, I sure have a lot to talk about with Nigel coming up this weekend.
I mean, the hair with the frosted tips,
Yeah.
height.
Uh huh.
He's a badass looking dude.
He is a badass looking dude. And he's a very good announcer, and he was a very good announcer with WWE.
Yes.
I don't know why they let him go, but they did, and that's I remember when they let him go, I remember Tony Khan mentioning, he said, "They let Nigel McGuinness go," and I thought he was one of their better announcers. And I remember when Tony saying that thinking, "I bet you Nigel's gonna come work for us." And he did, and, good for us because he's a lot of fun. He, I have to give Nigel credit about this. He does as much preparation or probably more preparation than a lot of people, announcers. He really, really does. And during the days on Saturday, he and I will just and usually I have a lot of work to do normally during TV days, but I was told by Tony Khan and Mike Mansuri that on days that you're doing collision, you just prep for the show. Don't worry about pre-tapes. Don't worry about talent relations. Just prep for the show. So Nigel and I just kind of stay in the announcer's room and prep for the show, and it's a whole day of doing that, and I really, really enjoy it. But back to Bryan Danielson, just wrestling on Saturday and Wednesday. I told him, I said, "You're insane. You're absolutely insane." But that's the way he is. That's what he does. And I know he said this would be his last year wrestling. Uh, I'm not so sure. I don't think he'll. I
I
don't
mean,
think
I
he's
saw
going to. He said before I go quietly in the night. I don't think he's going to go quietly in the night. I just don't. Who knows?
I didn't think it was ever gonna happen either, but when I saw that AEW had booked the Tacoma Dome, I
Yeah.
thought,
Right.
uh,
Yes.
maybe, possibly that feels like
The end.
yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It could be because that is south of Seattle and a little bit north of Aberdeen. So, well, I would guess a little bit northeast of Aberdeen.
I'm
Um,
just thinking, boy, if he's gonna get the Sting Revolution, Sting's last match treatment,
mhm.
I'm all for it, man.
I am too.
I don't want
I
it to end, but
no.
if he's going to end it, let's have like I loved what happened with Sting, and if we're gonna get that sort of big celebration and showing of respect and sense of occasion, I'm for it.
Brian Danielson was one of Tony Khan's best hires as far as the talent is concerned for a number of reasons. Number one, because of his performance, and number two, because he just has great ideas, and he is a great leader, and he's a great leader, and he also knows talent, and he can pick out guys that he thinks are great. Look at that son of a bitch! They're doing some great stuff. He can pick out talent. He can pick out guys that he thinks, hey, we need to use them a lot more.
Right.
And so he's so valuable to this company for everything.